Welcome back to your D132W1 to part 3 of our ex7, which is our Smuttynose label that we're working on. And we're working on the ex6 file that was the Children's Place and Shelby. And now we're working on page 3. So we want to match Smuttynose as close as we can. We're not going to match it perfectly. We're not going to do the little embellishment on the Y, but we're going to try and put it on an angle and even skew it a little, which will require a plugin. And by the way, I don't know if we talked about plugins before, but we cannot skew things. Meaning kind of angle them, and we could rotate them but not angle them. So by the way, if you go into plugins and you search, you find more plugins. If you don't have it yet, there's one called Skewdat, SKEWDAT. If you find that, just go find it and put it in there. That'll work well. Really flattened vectors is also a nice one to have, because that'll help get rid of any overlap when we flatten our vectors, because it does a weird flattening when we do it. For what we're doing now, it doesn't matter, but if we have to do anything else with it, sometimes it's an issue. And Warp It is another one that you may want to throw in there, because we could warp text a little bit, but we're not doing that now. But Skewdat would be nice to have, because we may have to skew this. You like that? We're going to skew that. We're going to skew Smuttynose. Anyway, let's type Smuttynose and get going with this. So we're going to work on this and find Smuttynose back in Google Fonts. So I'm going to go back. I was last looking at Frank Rule. We'll go up here, type Smuttynose, and Smuttynose is in New Hampshire, by the way, and they've been around for a while. And this is going to be handwriting, so we'll turn off all the serif ones, and now we'll look for something that looks like that. Pacifico, not bad. It has curly T's. I'd say no. Dancing Script, maybe. If we could go a little heavier, it has the T's that are connected, because let's see what we have here. We have kind of a brushy look. We have T's that have one crossbar going over both T's. The Y we're not going to worry about. There's a little curl in the S. There's a little curl in the O, and there's the kind of old cursive S. If you ever learned cursive handwriting, that's the way you made an S. You didn't use a small s, you did it like that. And let's see what we have here. That has a curly, that's kind of not bad. Dancing Script isn't bad. This isn't bad. It kind of looks like it has a bar going across. Satisfy isn't bad. I'm going to write that down if we do something with it. This one, like I said, too curly there, but not bad. I like the S in Satisfy. And see, we'll find some that kind of work. That's not bad. Although it's not really close and the S is a little off. That's not too bad. It's a little more formal. That's a little not right, but not bad. Cookie is not bad. We could skew it a little bit, but the S isn't correct. Damien isn't bad. I think is that the one we use for Shelby? Maybe we'll stay away from that one, but that's not bad. If you look at it, it kind of looks like it. We want some a little more brushy. Leckerli 1, that looks too heavy. Cone isn't bad. Yesteryear, a little too thick. Norican, that's not bad. Has some elements we like there. I might write down Norican. Has a little thing sticking out on the S there, which may not work. That's Grand Hotel, not bad. That's a little too curly looking. Style Script, I might write it down. Birthstone is not bad. I did not see that one before. I'm gonna write down Birthstone. Now, normally I would say no, it's too thin, but if you throw a stroke on it, you could make it a little bit thicker. It only has one style, but that's not bad. This is okay. Engagement, we could probably put it on an angle a little bit. That's not bad either. There's a couple good ones. That, I don't know, that kind of reminds me of a little bit. Now, none of them are going to be perfect. We're not going to find the one we want here. It's like a sign painter one. Engagement isn't bad. I'm going to write down engagement. Wow, we got a lot here. Hopefully I won't have any more, because I don't want to try all these and see which one works best. That's not bad, but it's a little too calligraphic looking, like a calligraphic pen. It doesn't look brushy. Not bad. A little on the thick side. It's harder to go thinner. It's easier to make it thicker. We could always put a stroke on. I think I'm going to stop there. Although that's not bad. We could find other ones that are similar, but I think what we have is probably a good start as far as what we're going to find here. We're not going to find the exact one, and we're at the end, so that's good. So we'll go back here and we'll type Smuttynose, and this will be in upper lowercase, and I'll click off so I get the selection there, and I'm going to go through my list. Dancing Script, dancing, and let me click on it, and I'll make it bigger, scale it up. So that's an option. It's kind of a nice, the S looks good. I'd have to skew it a little bit, but that's not a bad option. I'll make a copy of it. And I'll try engagement. Again, I'll go off of this. I'll try engagement. Maybe I could just scroll down here and find engagement. Wow, look how many D's there are. engagement. And that could work if we kind of stretched it out a little bit. That's not bad. I'll just move this over here. I'll make a copy. I'm just option dragging. Let's try satisfy. And probably what we're going to have to do is just find one and go with it. And that's not bad. We could make it a little thicker and even tighten it up a little. I didn't think that would be one we'd go with, but that's not too bad. And you know what? You could go with any of these. I have engagement, birthstone. Let me try another one here. Try birthstone. Birthstone is nice too. Let me move this away. If we made that a little thicker, that could look nice. Now it's a little more formal than we want, but it has a nice S. I'm going to make a judgment call here. I'm going to go with birthstone after all that. So I'm going to delete that. So you could try any you want and mess with them a little bit. Now we're going to have to skew it and make it a little thicker. So let's work on this. Get rid of these. Get rid of these. And if you used any of these, you could probably work with them. I mean, that's a nice one too. But I'm going to go with this, and I'm going to zoom in. And what am I going to do here? Well, I'm not going to do anything with the letters, so I could probably flatten it, you know, convert it to outline. So I think what I'll do is I'll make it a little bit bigger. And I need the scale tool to do that. Make it a little bit bigger. And that's not bad. And I'll flatten it. So let's flatten it. Flatten. Now it's flattened. And I might stretch it out just a little. Now, how do I get it up like that? I can't just rotate it. Now, you can just rotate it, but it's not rotated. Like, you could do that, but it's not at the same angle. What you actually want to do is, if you want to skew it, and use skew dat. I'm going to move this up here and put the S right there, and I'm going to use skew dat. And to skew dat, I'm going to go to plugins, and I already went and ran this plugin, and watch the way this works. You go to skew dat, and you get this little skew dat box that comes up, and if you vertically go up, you kind of line it up there. Let me move this away. See what I did there? I kind of did a vertical skew on it. So it's not rotating it, it's just kind of skewing it. So that's actually not bad, it's just too thin. But I could put a stroke on it, so let me go and put a stroke on it. And I'll go back on here on the move tool, and I'll add a stroke. Now I'll just do it in black for now. And it does a 1-point stroke, which actually is probably good. We might even make it a little thicker, maybe 2, maybe 1.5 if I could do it. It's not bad. Actually, that's not bad at all. And I think what I'll do is I'll make the fill white, and I'll make the stroke white, and we may be done. After the long first video of working with all that, I think that's all I'm going to do with it. I'll leave the Y like that. Now, to get it to look nice, what you could do is turn, if you turn that off, you can't see anything. So I think what I'll do is I'll zoom out a little bit, Command minus, Control minus, and I'll make a rectangle, and I'll just draw a rectangle the same size as everything here, and I'll fill it. Let me move it down. I'll fill it, take my eyedropper, and select that color, so it's roughly the same color as the label, and close this up. Now, rectangle is in front of everything. Let's move it down behind everything, and actually in front of the label, because we want it in front of the label. And that way we can move this thing up, move up the label, and put that there. And you could call it yellow box or something. Doesn't look bad. That's not a bad looking logo considering where we started. Now you might even want to make this a little darker. If you go here, maybe make it a little darker. It'll just make our white look better. So maybe I'll make that yellow a little bit darker. And that looks okay. So that doesn't look bad. Now if you wanted to look at both at the same time, you could go over here and do Shift and select all of them. So what I did is I selected yellow box, hold your Shift key, and then select that one. Now they're all together, and then group them. How do you group them? You could do Control G, Command G on a Mac, or you could go over here and go Object, Group Selection. Now they're all grouped. Why would I do that? Well, that way I could go here and look at the original and look at ours. Not bad. I mean, that's not bad. You could see when you do that, you see the differences. You see that we don't have, it's noticeable that we don't have that serif on there. Could we fix that? Yeah, we could fix it. We could see that the ovals are more kind of narrower on the original, and ours are a little wider, and that's because we don't have the right font. We're just squashing it. A real condensed font will have more narrower kind of shapes in there. They won't just be an oval that's kind of squashed, so sometimes that doesn't work. But actually, the one I used there, the Smuttynose, pretty damn good. I was not even thinking that at all. Just a last minute kind of change I made, and that I'm impressed with that more than anything. It doesn't have the curl in there, but it looks pretty damn good. I'm pretty happy with the Smuttynose, and skewing it like that is perfect. That's not a bad job. So that's all you have to do. So when you're done, you don't have to save it, or you could put like, new version here. Now, just because you grouped it doesn't mean you can't get in there. You could just go here, and you still have access to all that stuff if you had to go in and do stuff. So if you want to put a serif on there, anything, you could zoom in here. You could double click on here, and I don't know if they let you. I guess you can't. You're just messing with anchor points. But you could kind of add anchor points and do some things here. Let me just try it. I know you're like, just finish it. Please finish it. But let me go in here. I'll try to add an anchor point. And remember, hit escape. And then I'll add an anchor point. And I'll hit escape. Then I'll add an anchor point here, hit escape, and add an anchor point here, and then hit escape. Now what am I going to do with that? I'm going to go back to this arrow, and then I'll bring this up. Bring this up if I can. Actually, I'll bring it out. Bring it out. Bring it out. And didn't want to do that. And kind of bring this down. And bring this one down. And bring this over. Again, you don't have to do this. I'm just saying you could alter the anchor points on here to do that. And that would kind of fix that, and then you could hit done. So that would solve that. Now if I went back to here, I turned off the whole thing. New version. So now the W doesn't look quite as bad. Now again, what's different about ours? Our serifs are kind of longer. The blocks come down further. So there's a lot of things we could change here. I mean, if you actually had to trace this, it wouldn't be that bad, because there's a lot of straight lines. So that's real easy to do. But, it's also nice to look at what fonts we have and to pick up on those subtle differences in here, and even to find something that you wouldn't think would work. When I looked here, I didn't think whatever one I looked at was Birthstone or something. I don't know, whatever one that was. I didn't think it would work. I thought it was too thin, but worked out pretty nice here other than the little curl in there. And it's not bad. So when you're done, you could just share it again, and it's the same link as your other one, but you could just share it and put it in for the ex7, because I'll have a spot in coursework under Unit 6 for ex7, and you could just put the same link there if you want once you're done with the Smuttynose, because it'll just update. So if you share it, it's the same one as last time. So you could even copy the other one, but just share it again, put it in for ex7 once you do the old brown dogs. Now again, I flatten these, which basically turns them into vector outlines, so I can't adjust the font anymore. All of them in order to squash them. So none of them, I can't click on this and say, oh, I used that, I used that. So I don't even remember what I used here. I think it was Birthstone or something I used there. Hopefully this was Rocket, I think, and I don't even remember which one I used there. I'd have to go back and look at the video again. But anyway, hopefully you're paying attention and writing things down, taking notes as you go, or doing your own thing. Maybe you'll find something better. But that's the Smuttynose Brewing Co., and that's matching fonts from what we could find in Google Fonts. So hopefully you enjoy doing that.